Hey, I'm Danielle Snelson with Sona Events, and here is your tip of the week. The importance of defining clear goals and objectives for your team retreat or offsite. Now, this seems like maybe so simple or basic that it just doesn't get done. And I want to revisit this and make sure that it's a priority for you as you're putting together your next team retreat to sit down and talk about goals and objectives. Now, one of the things that I start to see in teams when there isn't a clear meeting at the beginning of the team retreat process is whoever is in charge of planning, they start to, make plans here and make this idea happen and come up with a new idea here. And it just kind of all gets thrown together and happens, right? And then in that as well, you get like a week before the retreat, and then you have your execs come in and say, we don't want that, and cut that, and that's too expensive, and you know the drill. So if we get really strategic about our planning process and bring people together from the very beginning, everyone who's invested in this event, that they're going to have a say, they're going to say this, or they're going to want that, or any sort of particular desires for the company, bringing those stakeholders together before you start planning. So what you're going to do is really set goals and objectives. What are the goals of your team retreat? What are you trying to accomplish? Do you have something coming up in the business? Maybe you're getting ready for a big launch. Maybe you've had a big setback and it's time to get everybody together and refocused and on the same page. Maybe you've had a lot of wins in the past year, or you're experiencing a lot of growth. Whatever that dynamic is within the company and in the business, you want to really focus on what's happening. How are we going to utilize the time we have together in person? Okay, so we want to identify what's going on in the business currently, and depending on where you're at in the planning process, what's going to be happening, say it's 3 months, 6 months, a year. What's happening in that time frame when you're actually together on site. So that's going to be your first conversation. And this conversation is really, really important, because what comes out of it is that you're going to define your top 3 goals, not 10. I mean, you might have a list of 10 in the brainstorming process, but I want you to define the top 3 goals and that you're going to be accomplishing at your next team retreat. Now, once you have those top 3 goals, it's really important to keep this top of mind, write it down, put it in your project management system, and always refer back to these goals. And what's going to happen is when you start making those plans and say, oh, here's an idea, and here's an idea, and here's an idea, let's do this, and let's do that. Every decision you start to make planning your team retreat moving forward needs to be in alignment with those top 3 goals. And if it's not, then it gets cut. So it really helps as a decision-making tool of what should we do, what should we keep, what should we let go, by putting them all together during that planning process and say, oh, should we spend the money to do this? Well, does that idea or concept meet our top 3 goals? Yes, keep it. No? Well, maybe we put that in our back pocket for the next team retreat. But having these meetings up front, defining your goals and objectives before you start the planning process is really going to help save you a headache in the long run, making sure that everything you're doing is in alignment with the company goals and objectives. Hopefully today's tip of the week helps you.